Hello and welcome to Stylish Chats with Creatives. Today on the podcast, I'm chatting to Valeria Medici. Yes, yay! You're based in Northampton and you're a prop painter and scenic artist, and you paint props for films and do scenes for backdrops in theatres, which sounds amazing. How on earth did you get into this? Because this is a job I feel like everybody knows somebody does, but it seems so niche.
It is. It's probably like most film jobs and theatre jobs, you stumble into it and it is what it is. You know, you find yourself there and you say yes. So mostly when I was in Italy, I was working in films, mostly in production. It was small productions, very independent films and such. And I always had an interest in art. So my education is all around art, fine art, drawings, paintings, and things like that. Then I moved to the UK and I took a degree in fine art. And after that, it was the year of the pandemic. I graduated. It was a bit of a mess. So I thought, we'll see what works. And I started sending CVs here and there, including films. And I got accepted by a independent production, small production, in the set decoration, which is basically the interior designers of the films. They put furniture and stuff in place. And I started there. And then it was a very, tiny little thing. And then from there, I got referred. And that's it, basically. I was right time, right place. And I had the luck to be accepted with the curriculum I had at the time. And obviously, you need to have a background in, the skills are needed. You can start as a trainee, but you need to have the skills required for the job, because it's not this type of jobs that you can go in with absolutely zero. You need to know how to hold brushes, mix paints, and wash the different solvents, different paint with different solvents and such. But it's like absolutely every film job, you need to be at the right place in the right time, and it's basically luck, to be honest, which is incredibly difficult to get in. But I was a lucky one. Yeah.
That must have been so hard to finish your degree in the pandemic as well, like insane.
Yeah, consider that it was a practical degree, fine art. I had to produce work. And the pandemic started when I was in my second year, which was the year where you basically start understanding and finalizing your art, your practice as such. And I was in a full discovery, and the uni got shut and I had to stop my work, which was a mess. My work was difficult to produce in the house, so I stopped and I had to go completely another way. So my degree wasn't finished in my mind because I had to, find another way to get to the end. I didn't feel like I wanted to pause or anything, because I didn't know how long the pandemic was going to last for. So I thought, let's take it out, let's finish it up and we'll see later. I didn't even know if the art world was available or existing after the pandemic. So, it was a little bit rough to navigate all of that.
Yeah, I think it was rough for freelancers in the business as well, let alone in when you're starting out in it, or like just finding your feet in another country in the same industry. I think that must have been hard as well.
Yeah, that was quite difficult. I moved in 2015, and back then I couldn't speak English. So I spent the first few years to understand or learn the language. And only after that, I felt confident to get about with something similar, or, something closer to the film or the arts. And then I didn't find anything suitable, because without a degree, you can't, if you come from another country, it's exceptionally hard to be accepted in certain industries. Yeah. Like, all right, you have NSBQs or qualification from another country, but we don't understand them, so basically they don't exist.
That's so ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, I qualified as a restorer, but because I couldn't a painting and furniture restorer and such, but because I didn't have the qualification from here, I couldn't do it. And to take the degree, it was so expensive. I couldn't access to grants before. So I thought, wherever this is not going to work, I'm going to have to do, normal job, retail, and all of that. So I did a few years of enslaved work, basically, and then I found my way into uni, and that changed everything, truly.
Yeah. How did you find your fine art degree, aside from the pandemic part? Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it. It was different because I was a mature student and all the other people were really young compared to me. And that was a little bit, when people say, oh, I found my best mate in uni and we started our business together, I couldn't do it because I was literally the oldest one and or one of the oldest ones. And, I wasn't, we were friends, but I wasn't bonding in the same way that other did. Which is fair because I wasn't even expecting to see that. In the practical terms, it was not as hard as studying in Italy because in Italy degrees they kill you basically. You have to study at PhD levels from the very beginning, and so it's very demanding, very very demanding. While here, it was tough for me. It was tough because I couldn't imagine with a self-taught level of English going into philosophical academical writing. It was a bit hard, but it was a super challenge and very inspiring, and I kind of I came back to life after years of working in normal jobs and not touching even a pencil to draw because I didn't have any inspiration. So that was amazing, super inspiring. And then the pandemic hit and it was like back to nothing really. And so but then I had the luck to start in films, and that was super.
I think you're so right with the luck in films as well. It's similar in the photography side. If you're in the right place at the right time with the right crew, people just go, are you available in April for 3 months for this job? Are you available then? And you feel like that's what's happened to you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, consider also that it is luck, but there is a resilience and perseverance in writing those emails, in doing those phone calls, that it's a job in itself. So imagine my normal day before getting accepted on this film, meaning the whole summer, I've sent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails. I try to, find the people. It was already, I didn't have any contact, like zero. So I went on IMDb and I tried to look for emails there or phone numbers. I tried to source like the Keys diary and the knowledge and calling people out of the blue. Receiving so many no's and so many oh maybe that, you know what you get. But then finally, when you receive a message back saying, "Oh, actually, can we sit down for an interview?" You're like, "Yes, of course." And also, there were loads of interviews where I say interviews, but there were more chats where I didn't get the job in the end because simply I didn't have enough qualifications or experience for that. And people tend to be very clear in if you get the job or not. There is not much fluff around it, which I appreciate. But it is really tiring as well because I am based in the Midlands, in Northampton, which theoretically is very well placed. In practice, it isn't because you only need one accident in the M1 and you are in a pickle. So it's long commutes and it's mostly renting accommodations nearer to the studio and then coming home on the weekends. That's my life.
Yeah.
We'll see from now on how it will be.
Yeah, I think I used to live down in Peterborough, so I know roughly, and it'd be similar if I was working in Leicester, say, or Birmingham. Like, if you get one accident or one little ping on the motorway and it's buggered, basically.
Yes. So it's always avoiding M1 and M25. Luckily, where I am, it's easy because my job, it tends to be West London, but not in London, outside, in the outskirts, let's say, Reading areas and, down there. The studios are all in that belt and north of London. So most places I can reach without going on the motorways, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to, and then there is always an accident. So I factor at least 40 minutes time on top of my normal journey because you never know. And if
and also that's good because then if you are early, you can go and grab a coffee. You can get your head round stuff and chill out a little bit before it all starts, can't you?
Yeah.
It's quite
sometimes power naps.
Yeah.
If it is a 2 hours journey, you're like, okay, I'm gonna gonna stop here and nap for a bit.
Yeah, definitely. So also you're a new mum as well, so congratulations.
Thanks.
And we were just saying before we hit record, you're going back to work in next month.
Yeah.
How are you? Are you kind of testing to see how it works, how you kind of feel, how the baby feels, and
Yeah, it's all of that. Understanding if I physically am strong enough, because I gave birth only 4 months ago, and I spent 2 of those basically in bed. Then I need to understand if the little baby, she's fine with me away. And if it's too early, I will have to, step back and start maybe in the summer. We'll see. For now, I only said yes to the job, and we shall see how it goes. But luckily, the person, my HOD, my boss, is very understanding. So we will find a way to make it work. Because I don't know exactly how or why, but proper painters in films tend to be women.
Oh, really?
The odd guy, yeah. Prop painters, yeah. And then in scenic painters, they tend to be, again, primarily women. And then, it's a lovely odd thing.
Yeah. That's really cool, because then I suppose that means that people are probably slightly more understanding of your situation. If, they're like, right, okay, so maybe this might be too early, or like, I think it's good. I think also that's a nice thing about being freelancers. You can go and test the waters do a little job, test the waters, see if you're ready. Okay, yeah, and then, I am, or no, I'm not.
Yeah, the great thing is exactly that. I mean, luckily, I am in a very good position in that I've made a few good contacts. So, and they all know that I have had the baby, and I've been in touch with them throughout my pregnancy as well. So I was preparing everyone, including myself, of I'm out now, but I'll coming back at some point. So be aware I'm here. Remember, as freelancers, I think there is always this sort of odd fears of being forgotten, or will I ever have a next job, when it's insane, because yes, you will. You just need to pick up the phone and do all of the phone calls, and even if it is a little tiny money job, it is still income. So
it's funny you should say that, because I get that kind of fear even if I go on a 2-week holiday. I'm like, oh my God, people forget about me.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, why have I taken this time off? Why am I just being on holiday? How am I? Yeah, so we are working in our minds all the time. Even during pregnancy, I was like, oh, maybe I should do something. In fact, I did. I've been working with a union back too. I don't know if you know them.
Yes.
So I've signed up to the subcommittee, and I did some work for painters within the union. So I had to keep active, even if I was absolutely incapacitated of moving. So just to keep a presence, I felt that for me that was needed for my sanity as well.
Yeah. So how do you find the union? I know of them. I don't think I'm part of them. I think they're mostly TV, aren't they? TV and film side, rather than still side.
Rather than what? Sorry.
Still side, photography side.
Okay. I actually don't know, because I've never been a photographer, so I don't know if they cover that as well. But if it is photographers on film sets or on TV, I suppose you should be covered, because it's working within the film and TV realm. I've been a Bachelor member for years because I think it's worth it, and I've needed to ask their help for once, which wasn't very nice. But knowing that you can call them and say, hey, I haven't been paid on this one or on that one, can you give me a hand? That's amazing, because they help you understanding how things work. And, I always say that it's better to be in the union than not being in the union, because it's run by mostly us freelancers that work within the union for free, actually, to make it better. And, it's working, helping, supporting each other in if there is a problem, and sometimes there is. And also, it's a nice way to try and change things in a positive way.
I think it's good. From what I've seen of it and what I've heard from other people, it seems like a really good, positive thing actually to help make sure, like you say, if you're getting stuck with like you've not been paid or something else, and you've got somebody there that you can ask for proper legal advice or what have you, it's really helpful.
But also, you need an insurance cover when you work as a sole trader freelancers, and you get one with like £40 a year, so it's fine, amazing actually. And for me, it's important to be covered and be safe. And if I need being helped, but there is rate cards involved, so there is content in the industry. And if you say, look, I know that's the minimum threshold, so I shouldn't be paid any less than that, it's really good because, probably in every industry, so freelance industry, there are people that get paid very little, and so they, lower the rate of the industry, which is not good at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. The same happens on the still life side, and and I think having the rate cards and stuff by like APA and by Beck2 and stuff, it's really helpful because you can refer back to it and just say
exactly, and then they, it's much easier to then get to the job with a decent rate.
You can
refer to it.
Yeah, because it's such a specialist skill as well. Like yours is even more like niche than styling, and it's such a niche job that it should be paid correctly and stuff. I think as with everything when you're freelancing, people try and just get the best out of their budget, don't they? So it's one of those things.
Yeah, it's fighting for your rights and your rates as well, because obviously there are some companies that rather pay less. And there are always people that will say yes. And I'm not even, I don't think the world will change ever in that way. But for me personally, what I have achieved, I don't want to go backwards, So in tough times, you remember there was the film strike that lasted for 7 months, May 23 till November 23. And that doesn't mean that then everything started again. We had a full year of setback and everyone was at home. Even, the super bosses, everyone was unemployed. And after that, people were asked to come back to work with a silly low rates. And because there was famine, people started saying yes, even, people with good CVs. And that's not fair.
Yeah.
Now it's getting a little better.
Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to say as well about the like when there's film strikes and stuff, it affects so many layers of people. And like you say, it might only be aired that it's for 6 months or 7 months, but actually you guys are still feeling the impact of that for a year.
Yeah, still now, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been out of work in maternity, which, it's something that is not even covered because you're a freelancer, so you get the maternity allowance and that's it, which is little. But it is still affecting the industry today. Definitely.
Yeah, massively. Did you over in Italy? You said you were a furniture restorer and things. How did you get into that side of things?
I actually studied for that, but the reason I left is because I couldn't get in there either. And so I studied art and then a qualification like an NSVQ in restoration, and it was primarily stones and crockery, pottery, and this type of things. But then they taught us also to restore paintings and bits of furniture. And then I did like 3 or 4 years of that. I managed to get in a few studios to do some tiny jobs over there. But imagine if the film industry is cliquey, I think restoration is even more. I went to Florence to study there because it's like the home of restoration in a sense. And I did some courses over there as well, but I wasn't lucky, that's it. It's one of these things that I tried and I couldn't get in. So that's it. And in here, I did try a bit. I got a few little jobs, but nothing really serious, or rather nothing that I thought, okay, that's my career now. sadly, because I did love that. But in a sense, I do that in films. I mean, I do the opposite. I ruin things instead of restoring things. Because most jobs is like, all right, we have a, I don't know, post-apocalyptic sect, or a room that needs to be 50 years old, so we need to ruin everything. We are given the smallest things, or even furnitures, or I don't know, a bookshelf that need to be completely trashed in a paint setting. But then it has to come back because we need to do it again as brand new. So you are constantly ruining in paint effects stuff.
I was going to ask how the restoration that you did and studied for helps now, but you pretty much just answered that in the sense you're backwards and forwards with it. So it sounds like you have to make stuff look old, then make it look new again, then make it look old again and make it look new again.
Yeah.
Is it just you're kind of at the hands of the director in which shots they want doing first?
All right. So in terms of the restoration techniques, it helps because if I know how to get things restored, I know how to make them aged. And then, yes, technically, generally, we are given things and we need to take the ping off it, if it makes sense. So if we're given a lamp that is nice, shiny, brand new, we need to age it a bit so that it dulls out, it loosens the ping, especially if it's like a shiny surface. And that is so that when the camera pans around the room, everything is matte and kind of chilled, and it doesn't, scream at the camera like I am a lamp and I am here. So everything needs to be nice and smooth and down. And so basically I'm working under an HOD, head of department in the paint shop. And what happened is that they, in the month, for example, ahead of us, they have priorities in terms of a set needs to be completed by this date. So everything needs to be done by this date. And then in the same time, we have 4 other sets that needs working on. But, sometimes there are reshoots as well. So based on the need of the week, theoretically of the week, if not of the day, we work out our goals that way. And generally, we, probably like many other jobs, you've got a massive board with the name of the set, every prop that needs painting and who will do it. Because if we are a team, it's much easier to assign a prop to a painter and say, Val, you do the lamp, you do the chair, you do whatever else. And so everyone knows what we're working on and we have a deadline. But sometimes, like it happened to me, you get to work at 7:30, nice, half an hour earlier than usual because you want a cup of tea, you want to sit there and just listen to a podcast. You are said, oh Val, fantastic, you're here. Yeah, why? Because at 9 we have a set and we need this prop painting, and the guy that was working like 5 months ago, he painted it. Do you know how he did it? I said, no, but we can't wait for the boss to come round because it needs to be done by 9. It needs to go on set, meaning we are late already and the day hasn't started. So you're there like, oh my god, okay, right. I'm trying to understand by looking at the prop that someone else has made and you haven't even met the guy, how that prop has been painted. And you try to call your boss, but obviously they are coming to work and you're like, all right, I'll find a way. And then you have to find a way. Luckily with paint, you can always paint it back. A bit of thinner or this solvent, and you can strip it off and paint the layer back. So there is that, the little safety net of like, okay, I messed up that one, but I can redo it if there is time.
Yeah, I think we're problem solvers, aren't we? It seems that mostly creatives that I've spoken to, someone goes, can you just do this? And you're like, yeah.
Not just, but yes, I can. Yeah. It's a fast-paced one. I think one of the most important requirements of people working on this industry, no matter the place where they're working, in a sense, is sense of urgency. Number massive one, sense of urgency. If you're told we need to get this out now, it needs to be now. It can't be later, because imagine if one prop is late, and they're going to film it and they need it. It means that you have some 30-40 people on set waiting for you, and every hour costs, let's say, I don't know how much it can cost, $1 million, 300,000, I don't know. But it's a number that is insane. And it's basically you holding everybody because you need to finish this little thing. of this massive thing.
Yeah. That's it. I think there's so many layers and so many, like you say, so many people on a film set that it could be a vase needed for continuity purposes, and it might be a reshoot, and then someone's like, where the bloody hell's that vase? Or, you know, we just need to paint it a tiny bit or whatever. And it's, you know, like you say, that sense of urgency. So that's really cool that your like restoration bits have been really helpful in this as well. And how do you, when you say you're painting backdrops for theatres, obviously backdrops are massive. So is that like a team of you, and like you must start in like a normal painting, right? You do your background and then you kind of slowly work in.
For theatre backdrops, they tend to be 11 meters by 7 meters, if not bigger. I don't know in feet, sorry, I don't know feet. So,
yeah. I mean, meters is easier.
Meters and centimeters, give me that. So basically, for when you do those, is a nice process because it's linear and it's a repetition, and you can really not chill out in a sense because you need to be on top of it, but you know, it's you know what's coming. There is no issues theoretically ahead. So you have if you're working as the main painter, the lead painter, you go you will have talks with the designers before, and usually they give you a scale model of the backdrop that they want painting. And the good ones give it to you amazingly perfect. I mean, they draw it and paint it with the right colors. So in theater, we tend to use a specific brand of color, which is Roscoe, and the quality of the pigments is absolutely amazing. So when they say, you know, I've used Roscoe red, that number there, you don't even have to think about it. It's just that one. And it's basically a massive coloring book, if you want to think about it, with techniques. And then you start with priming the cloth, which is honestly takes forever, depending on how many of you there are. Usually it tends to be 3 painters per job. Sometimes it's 2, but you know, it depends. It can be that if the job is massive, I've worked on teams with maybe 5-6 of us.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's a back-to-back. You never stop. A cup of tea at 10, and that's it, basically. And so you have to prime a cloth, which is 11 by 7 meters. And the good ones, there are some frames that roll down into the ground and roll back up. So you are physically stationed at the floor level, and the cloth comes up. And so you prime it, and it goes up and up and up. And then you do all the layers. You start with the reds, and then the blues, and then, you know, everything else. Others, you need to go there with a massive ladder. And you know, you have to paint at the levels, and that's a bit difficult.
Yeah.
You know, if your brush falls down, it's like, oh god, it's 3 stories down. I need to rush. That's annoying. But then we start with the drawing, so we project the drawing onto the cloth, and then you paint on it. Yeah.
That's so cool, because I didn't know the kind of process of that actually, because you kind of take for advantage that if you go to a theatre, oh, that's a really nice backdrop. And you don't really think about how it's done. So I mean, I'm dead scared of going up ladders. I was up one at the weekend on a job, and like there was 2 of us, one on either side of this ladder, and I get really nervous. I'm like, oh god. And then I was only maybe 6 feet up, maybe 7, you know, so I wasn't too, and I lost something. I was dressing an event space, and I lost something. It fell off my shoulder on the floor, and I thought, oh, for God's sake, now I've got to climb all the way back down again, all the way back up. And that was only like the size of a door. Yeah.
Oh my. Yeah, it's fun when probably one of it's the nicest part of the set of the theatre job, because you know you're closer to the end. Is when you put the glitters on. But nice. Because you put the glitter by you apply some glue, and then you have to blow it if the cloth is vertical. If it is on the floor, you know, on the ground, you can sprinkle it on top. But then it happened to me once that one part of the cloth needed to be you know, glittered, because we didn't have the time to do it on the ground. So there I was on a step ladder. I was on 7 meters up, you know, with a brush, putting the glue and blowing the glitter from my,
oh God,
piece of paper folded in a way, Oh my gosh, that was something. And he was like, "Oh, he's opening night tomorrow." So he's like, "All right, okay, no pressure there."
Yeah. And then I imagine like the cleanup job, glitter just stays everywhere for hours and days and months and
found it in
years.
my house, on my partner, on the cat, in my shoes for a number of months. All over you, on your hair. You wash your hair for the, I don't know, 10th time after a month, whatever, and then there they are, glitter still. They never go, never.
No, it's that, and I find fake snow. I find fake snow everywhere. That gets everywhere.
Luckily, I didn't have much to do with that, because generally that's more for dressing. I tend to work with backdrops and I forgot the name on now, my brain. The backdrops, so effectively, and all of those moving parts of the set that are, like the I don't know.
Yeah, like
the comes in and then it goes up.
Yeah. Is that do you get to see the show as well after you've like done all the props?
If everything works fine, and generally if you're working there for a good number of weeks, then they give you the ticket. Sometimes unfortunately it doesn't work like that. I've worked on theatre productions like pantomimes, but also on bigger productions, and sometimes you're there for maybe not long enough, or they simply didn't think of giving the ticket, or someone was late and never, the ticket never reached you. So it's a series of things. But generally in theatre, you have a ticket for you plus one. And all the pantomimes I've done, they, generally, if I remember right, we went to see all of them. And then for films, generally, you are invited to the premiere. Not the one with the big actors, because those tend to be in America, the production I worked on, or, they are for the biggest people, and then there is the crew. So, but there's a fun night, usually.
Yeah, that's cool. It must feel really surreal to like see your work. Like, imagine the first couple of jobs, you must have been like, "Whoa, my work's in the cinema!" Like,
oh my God, really? Yeah. The thing is, I suppose everyone will look at the props, will look at what they've done. Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, the plot, whatever. But what? Oh no, yeah, that's that flag I've done. Oh my God, do you remember how many hours we spent doing it? And they ruined it. Oh, it's on flame, it's on fire. So yeah, the first watch for people that work on films, I think, at least for me, it's you go and look for the things you've done, or for the accidents that happened, or for the fun bits that someone else from another department told you about, stuff like that. And then you need a second watch to actually watch the film.
Yeah. It's so funny, isn't it? Like seeing your work in the wild, and then like, I don't know, saying to family like, I did this, and they're like, okay, I don't really understand.
Family does never understand what you do. Never. No. You can explain a million times, especially the hours of work, and you're like, yeah, I'm still working, still there. Oh, but everyone is home. I know.
Yeah.
And then when you try and explain what is it that you do, they go like, oh, right there. Up, over the head. And then they ask again, so what is it that you did?
Yeah, I've had to like simplify my job and just say I make stuff look pretty for photographers. I've just had to simplify it down.
Yeah, I paint things, and they're like, all right. Oh well.
So do you still get time to do more fine art work as well? Because you did mention that you maybe do that as well.
Yeah, actually, that takes a lot of inspiration, and when you don't have it, there is no point in forcing it, for me at least.
Yeah.
When you're in uni, you works like a mule in terms of producing work, and you don't. It's like a super concentrated lifetime worth of work, and being out of uni, because I don't have any deadlines to meet, or maybe I didn't apply for any bursaries, or I haven't looked for active work, I haven't produced. But also I think the pandemic completely killed me in terms of creativity. So after that, I haven't done much. if not anything. I had a few little ideas, but then they remained as such in my work, in my notebook, and that was it. Mostly, I do like painting the murals. That's something I started doing when I was here in pregnancy. So I've done like my baby's room mural. It's a little thingy, very much like a pantomime style.
Yeah.
More gentle. So I think now that my work is art based, I don't know exactly how, why, but I feel that fills me enough with creativity when I do it. At the end of the day, when I'm in pantomimes, you use water-based colors, and it's, generally speaking, super vibrant. Or if you do a set that is concrete, it's just great. But then working on films is so demanding, and you use a lot of chemicals that when you go home, you really don't want to pick up a brush anymore. There's not enough of that. So yeah, for now it's that. Sometimes when I feel inspired, and maybe I've got 2 months of gap between works, or you finish a job and you have no idea when the other one comes, I find myself painting little watercolors, tiny things, and then little drawings, tiny sketches, small things generally. Or sometimes I like to reproduce paintings of other people, like big painters, but I like, for example, I love a specific horse by Paolo Uccello, and which is a painter, and I reproduced that one just for fun, no pressure at all.
Yeah.
Just go there and do it. But yeah, I think it's fulfilling enough, the work I do, so I don't need to produce anymore.
Yeah, I think you're right, because similarly to you, when I'm being creative at work, I then struggle to find my home creativity. I'm doing that in air quotes, because sometimes there is some different things that I like doing, and then I get home and I'm like, oh God, I'm so tired from doing this creative shoot that I have no creativity left. It's gone.
It's
It's
gone.
done.
Yeah, exactly. I think I don't even know where my notebook is at the moment. But that tells me that I didn't have anything in me left in terms of creativity, which I don't think is a negative stuff, because working already as a creative, it's not like I am lacking that. I am actually using all of those energies for, a job, which is actually more than a job, because if you think about it, I love what I do, so I don't see it as the chore of going to work. Yeah, it is tiring, of course, demanding and everything, energy finish at the end of the day, and that's it. But I am excited to go next day.
Yeah.
And that's differentiates from work.
Yeah. I'm with you. If it's, especially when we're using our creative brains all the time at work, and then it's tiring because you're using your creative brain. But then if you're enjoying it and you're thinking, oh yeah, you're getting a buzz from it, then that's all that matters, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think, I don't know if you work alone or if you've got pals or colleagues, but on a film job especially, because it's tend to be longer than theatre, for me at least, you end up being super friends with the other guys, and people working near you and with you. That is, a workshop is amazing. So I tend to work in a physical workshop more than on set. Depending on the job, really, because so far I've been based on a workshop, which means you go in the same workplace all the time, which tends to be a massive sturdy tent, really tall, and you've got the prop modelers making the things, and then the welder, and then you've got the chippies constructing the wooden parts that needs for whatever prop you're making, and then there is you, the painters. You go in and is everyone there, and is the chain of production for that department. We are all physically there, and then we all go to tea together, and for lunch, and for our breaks. So it's full of people, and the environment is very vibrant. And when there is the stress of having to finish this massive prop or this set, all of us were working towards it. It just so happened the painters are the last step.
Yeah.
Because, it needs to be designed, printed if it's in 3D, or made, assembled and whatever, and then you need to paint it. And so we are the last ones.
But it sounds like a little family as well. Once you're in, it's kind of like a whole crew together. You become quite a tight-knit like family. And we're the same on sets. Especially if it's a stressful job, everybody's like, right, we'll break for lunch. It's almost like you're bonding over the job, and then
it's true, yeah, it's very much. I think through the struggles you get stronger as a group, in a sense. Especially like on a job, it happened that there was some massive delay or probably a huge change. You see, being at the end of the line, in a sense, you don't get to know why that thing has happened. It just happened. And so on a job, we all the department finish at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
But it was all of us, just a few had to go away because maybe they had children and they couldn't, leave them alone till 1 a.m. But for the rest, it was just all of us being there, putting the effort together, ordering pizza and just going through it, and then, I don't know, taking a huge photo at the end of the evening, or maybe a celebration of some kind. I don't know, but the struggle really bring people together. If the team is I don't know how to say, good.
Yeah, like really connected. I think it's so true. It's so true of like mammoth jobs as well. You're like, right, okay, let's get through it, guys. We've got to get this done. You drink more coffee, more Red Bull, like get through it, have a pizza.
Yeah, it's so true.
So what's the best or favorite thing you've ever done in your career so far?
Right. Favorite thing was painting the flags for Napoleon.
Wow.
That was just a bijou of a job, in that it was, I don't know, amazing. Imagine, if you just have a look on Napoleon, the flags, we painted them, all of them, between my department and another department. So we spend our days, which was super long, 7:30 a.m. till 7 p.m. That was the work day. We spend them receiving the reference and the physical flag all joined together and stitched together, and we had to paint it over with stencils, if we had stencils, or by hand. And that was, such a lovely thing to do. That was my favorite physical action. But then what else? Ghostbusters was amazing as well. Because we get to the all of the proton packs and things, and for references we had to see the original ones and things like that. So it's like, oh my god, it's actually that one. So yeah, wow. I wasn't particularly like a super Ghostbuster fan, but we get to become one.
Yeah,
work on things. It's like you're super excited,
It's almost like iconic. You're looking back at something that's iconic, and then you've got to use it as inspiration for, the remake or whatever.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the painting the flags, that actually sounds really relaxing.
Yes, okay, exactly. That was it. It was, as an action, relaxing, because you are there with the stencil. It's a process that you need to follow, and by the end of it, you'll have your flag. So even if the day is going too bad, or you're feeling terrible, I don't know, you've got the period and you can't take it anymore, or whatever, the process is there. So you have stencil 1, stencil 2, stencil 3, stencil 4, flag is done, you hang it, let it dry, that's done. And then off you go with another one. And especially, actions like that really make the job go really, the day goes really fast. And you know, on that job specifically, I think we needed to produce a number of flags a day, and we needed that absolutely. So there is the pressure of having the work done, getting the work done by the end of the day. But otherwise, the team was nice. We were in a nice and cozy environment. toilets were nice.
That's always a good plus when the toilets are nice. You're like, yes.
When you've got the kitchen and the toilet nearby and it's not 5 miles away, that's amazing. And when they're warm, hot water from the tap, those are the luxuries of work.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely one of those things when you're on a big set and you're like, is there a space to make a brew? Are the toilets okay?
Yeah.
Are they close enough? Cool. Yeah. And then, like you say, you can get your head down and get going with something. I think that's like, it sounds that you can just get in a zone and just go for it.
Yeah, imagine all of us, we were obviously in the same room, but then when we had, I have my 50 flags for the day, you have your 50 and whatnot. We are with our headphones on, podcast, because of course you get the bad day and you get in and say, guys, you know what, today I've got, I'm moody, so I think I need a few hours just to find myself. I don't want to,
yeah,
bring mood in the room. So I'm gonna just close up for a while and then I'll see you at tea time. And it's really great that you can say these sort of things. In every job so far, everyone has a bad day and you just say, guys, it's awful, I haven't slept or whatever. Anything can happen the day before or the morning,
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're so right, like being honest to have that conversation with a team and just say, I need a couple of hours, I'm putting my headphones on, I'll see you in a little bit. It's appreciated by everybody as well, because then you feel better after, you know.
It's not nice, I think, to work with someone in the team that it doesn't communicate. Or somebody, I don't know, luckily it hasn't happened to me all that often, but when there is a person that is very negative, you really, it's painful because the mood gets really, touches everyone. And then trying your best to bring it up again, guys, please. We only have 10 hours to go. Lift up here.
Yeah, that's it's definitely just communicating, isn't it? And just saying like, I'll be fine in a bit, it's fine.
Exactly. And then, there are lovely things that happen. Like there is always someone's birthday and you bring the cake, or you just didn't know that it was someone's birthday and you come in and there is a massive cake and you're like, oh my god, it's birthday day. So yeah,
it sounds really cool. Is there anything that you think, oh, actually I wish that was better about your job, or is there anything that you think others should know about your job before they try and start?
All right, so let's go with the first one. For people that try and start, know that if you want an easy day, it's not for you. Meaning, it doesn't matter where you live, you have to be wherever the film is, because films change locations all the time. If you just happen to live in Uxbridge, you're bloody lucky because you've got Pinewood right there. And so you might be able to get the job there, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be. If you want to do this job or working in films, be ready to travel. You need to be in your car and go. Rent accommodations. Sometimes it's not even worth it for the money, but if you're starting, you have to sacrifice something. So if you really, really want to do this, try a job. If you're lucky enough to be accepted already, take it. And maybe if your earnings are not that great to begin with, because you've got the expenses of petrol, the expenses of the Airbnb room or whatever accommodation, it is what it is. This is it. This is life from now on. That's one. Or if you're happy to commute an hour and a half every day, that's also it. Many people do it. And then what could be better is actually the hours. Because it is still long, long days, like 9.5 hours. Which, if you think about it, if you have to start at 8 and finish at 5:30, or sometimes finish 7 till 7, then yes, you have breaks in here and there during the day, but you have to get that and you have to go back home. You have to shower, you have to eat. If you want, you need to go to the gym maybe twice a week. Where is the day gone? It's not there. So hours could be better. Like there's some construction department, for example, they have shorter days. I don't know for sure now, but I think they do something like 8 till half 3, 8 till 4. And honestly, that hour and a half less is life-changing. But another good thing that is actually happening is that there is job sharing and flexible work that has been solidly introduced, or is started very nicely to be introduced in the industry. It's mostly for working parents or people that do have caring responsibilities outside of work. And so you can some jobs can be flexible, so you can be mostly in the office or workshop and then go home and finish at home. Others aren't, like mine. I can't take a proper home. So I could do part-time perhaps. Obviously, that means you earn half of the money. But it's a flexibility that for me as a new parent, I think I was actually terrified, to be completely fair, after I thought I knew I was pregnant, because I thought, okay, that's the end. I'm going to have to find another job. I can never go back, because who would want a new mom? But then obviously a lot of people are parents of older children. My bosses, they all have kids. So they've been actually very good in reassuring me, in saying everything is okay, you can come back to work, we'll make it work. So yeah, hours are a big thing still in film industry, but I think we are slowly getting to a good position. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah, and I think that change, it comes like in small little bits, doesn't it? And then you look back after like 10 years and go, wow, that's really changed.
Exactly. I think already is, because if you talk to the older generation that started working in the 50s in films, they will tell you that they had they came in and they never came out, or they didn't have as many breaks, or the work was much more difficult to do. You couldn't ask for holidays and things like that. But then I think especially our generation and the one after us, the youngest ones, I think the way of work is completely changing in other industries, not in film, but like everyone works from home. Many people work from home. A lot of people do reduce hours or maybe part-time, and everyone is happy, because I think some people prefer to have a life and then a job. But for people working in creatives and this, we have the job and then a bit of life.
Yeah,
it's a balance I need to find, because I still don't know how it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to find balance as well. And I work like, I don't know, with my commute, probably 7 till 6 most days with a commute.
Yeah.
And I think like, yeah, I'm still trying to find a balance. I started the gym back in October, and I think my aim was twice a week, and I think I've max been once a week, because I've just not had the time.
I know what you mean. I mean, personally, because I needed to get back, I need a bit more strength. I started going to the gym literally 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I've been doing 3 days a week right now. But I know for a fact that when I go back to work, I might be able to do 1 day.
Yeah.
Because then I'll have all of the 3 days where I come home, and my commute will be, I don't know, probably half 5 a.m. till 8 p.m. That's most likely. And then no chance I'm gonna go to the gym. And then the other days I'm gonna have the baby. So we'll see, mate. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
balance. For now, it's a job. Then childcare is arranged, and then we can go.
Yeah, that's it.
We'll see.
It's finding it. I'm sure you'll find the balance somewhere. You'll find it. It's there somewhere to be had. It's just figuring it out, I think. And I think from what you're saying as well, I think a lot of my friends who've had babies, who are in our industries as well, have gone, right, how do we do this? And they just figure it out as they go along.
Exactly. As you go along. Right now is like a big hurdle that can't be, crossed, because you're not that yet. But I'm super excited to go back. I literally am excited already. This week is going to be packing up my gear, because it's been, taking dust for a year basically. And now, I'm going to have to take everything out and just choose what to take with me, because when you're on a job, so this time around, I'm going to be not in a studio, not in a workshop, but around the studio to work on the sets already built, basically. So this time around, I'm going to have my trolley with my stuff and I take around. And then, you basically are a painter on the go, which is it is not just brushes. You have to take an air gun to, dissolve things, or stuff like lighter fluid to take sticky bits off, I don't know, places. And lots of other weird tools. If someone was to look at my toolbox, they would say, like, what the hell are you doing here? I mean, what's this? I've got tools that are used in dentistry because they're good to get things out, or, little tools to pick things up that are used in medical surgery, or, there is all sorts of tools that you find absolutely useful, but they look like trash, really.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the same for me too. It's really interesting that you've got like medical tools and stuff. So have you got like tiny tweezers and things like that?
Yeah, I have. Not that I've ever used them so far, but honestly, they will come handy one day. I have surgical needles. They're like C-shaped and really, really sharp. And you can't even hold them with your hand. You need a special scissor that is like clicks onto it. And so I've got that one just in case, because you never know. Then I have little spatulas that I use in restoration, that I use, say you need to fill up a hole somewhere in a tiny, very weird corner, but it needs to be done. And so you can't even put your hands there, but you need a tool to reach. Then what else? I've got a little box of all the different type of wax with little flags on them to say, like, okay, there's a bee wax, there's another wax, and to age things, all sorts of. I have a piece of plastic that is all cranked like in a bowl that is great if you need to remove some excess wax from things and leave weird marks. We have natural sponges in case we need to do, I don't know, generally I use them for aging things down, or if you need to do a concrete effect, they come in handy. And then I don't know, I've got even dish soap because sometimes you need it. You need to wash stuff.
Yeah. It's funny because you're describing all your kit, and then in my head I was going, oh yeah, I've got kebab sticks, I've got wax that people use on braces or like holding things. I've got obviously blue tack and the usual scissors and stuff like that, and then there's weird things that just get put in like little chunks of wood that someone goes, what's that for? And I'm like, well, if you have a product that doesn't balance, and then a stick that to that.
Yeah, we have little bits of wood to make special marks. So if you have to, I don't know, maybe age an object that need to look as if it's been scrubbed, you can just use that to apply paint and make it look like it's been ruined. Yeah, we have odd bits of things, but most important, honestly, headphones and phone covers and a little speaker, because you need it. Yeah, I think it's horrible when you leave your headphones at home. Absolutely devastating, because I don't know, it's just sometimes you work with so many other people and it's so noisy. The chip is going crazy, and then people moving metal things, and it's honestly so loud. So I use my noise cancelling ones, and it's brilliant because you just that, and you are in your bubble making your messy paint job. And that's it. Oh, knee pads. My goodness me, they saved my life so many times.
Oh yeah, knee pads. Yeah.
Wow, they are my favorite piece of kit.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got like I don't have the ones that strap on. I've just got like a cushion basically. But yeah, it's funny you should say about the headphones. I was on a job this week, and I just said to the girls, like, I just need to put my headphones on and put my head down and crack on. Yeah. And then, because there was somebody cutting, there was somebody doing something else.
The environment.
Yeah, it's too much, isn't it? Sometimes you just need to crack on.
Yeah, definitely. And it's nice sometimes, especially, well, this job, you do work alone, but in a team. So you need to have your own space when you're alone, but you can't be distracted. And I find that if I have some music or a podcast going on, it's great, because then you only need, if someone is calling, you go, yeah, what?
Yeah, definitely.
Then, make your own space.
Yeah.
Chaotic place.
I've got one more question for you, and answer it whichever way you see fit. But what inspires you?
Inspire me. Oh, that's tough. Well, in this moment in time, I think it was very inspiring to be wanted back at work.
Yeah.
Honestly, that little phone call changed my life, changed my mood for that from that moment on. And yeah, right now is knowing that I will be back with my people and my lovely boss, and I'm gonna be in this super set, which I can't tell about, but it's so cool because I can't say why.
Yeah.
I like that theme, and it's just super exciting. With the commute, honestly, May, that's gonna be absolutely knackering, but I am excited. I'm inspired by putting my kit together. Is that possible?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Like another thing, I've been gifted my new airbrush. So like this week I've bought my paint, and I'm gonna have a play day, learning how to assemble my gun and my airbrush and cleaning it. So it's gonna be a techie afternoon with some test paint in here. Just going back to my passion is inspiring.
Yeah, I think so. I think I can feel it off you. We're only doing like a video chat, and I can feel that you're so excited to get back to it and back doing the thing that you really love.
That's it, exactly. And I'm very excited. And like another inspiring thing is I always feel I don't know some techniques. I mean, I know that I don't know some techniques. So I really want, now that baby's bigger and I can leave her with Tom and I can have my day. We've decided this one day a week is going to be Tom's day, and I'm not to disturb, and one is going to be my day. So yeah, I really want to crack on with learning new techniques to reproduce faux effects, for example, bettering certain skills of mine. And even little simple thing like, okay, I've got this new airbrush, I have no idea how to assemble it, and I really want to practice with it, so that when it comes to going back and when I need to use it at work, I'm like, yeah, I don't need to fiddle with it and like, oh gosh, because everyone is different. So yeah, things like that. I'm a bit of a tomboy, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of us out there who are a bit of tomboys, especially in this industry. We're like, we'll put our overalls on and you get going, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds so cool. I think that's a really cool idea as well, that you guys are having a day each to, keep inspiring yourselves, keep learning new things. Because I think that I'm not a parent, but I've seen that it can be really hard work. And I think you do need to make sure you've got that time for yourselves too.
Definitely. I mean, it's easier said than done. Now it's getting to the point where we can, because before, baby needs you, especially mom. I mean, there is nothing dad can do when baby wants mom in the room.
Yeah.
So yeah, but now we're in the sweet spot where it's easier and we kind of sleep, and the brain works ish. And now I'm feeling like, I want my day off. Thank you.
Yeah.
I need it.
And I'm sure, like, as the baby goes to nursery and school, you guys all feel like you're getting the rhythm of it, and it'll be a lot more structured.
We are starting to teach her from now, actually, to be, I wouldn't say independent, but to go to places. So we can leave her to grannies, we can leave her to the childminder, and once or twice a week we do this little half a day, few hours, just so maybe even me and Tom can have a day off together. Let's go for a dinner, lunch, whatever, a walk alone. Yeah. Contemporary parents, we are loving our children, but we want our time.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I don't want to get mad. Why going to the madness when you can, be yourself and nice.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining me today on the podcast. I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to how you have become a prop painter and a scenic artist. So
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's been fun.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please rate, follow, and share, as it really helps this little podcast out. And if you have found value in the podcast and you have the means to, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee link in the show notes. This will help keep the podcast going. Join me next week for another fantastic guest. Bye!